And towards that, I have the next presenter today, who is Ayush from Samagra. He will tell us that how, when the learning continuity broke up with schools being shut, school system breaking up in some ways, because a classroom which was a constant for hundreds of years no longer existed in the life of a child and a teacher, and so on. So what he will share with us is how we can create connected learning experiences, so that a school system at large can function, can sense what's going on the ground through surveys, can identify learning gaps through a powerful question bank, and can roll out very creative, innovative solutions by integrating external apps on a platform. So over to you, Ayush. Very excited to have you here. Learn a lot from your experience at Samagra and what you guys have so far.
Thank you, Swain. Thank you for having us here. It's really an honor to be part of the overall Sunbird family. I'll just share my screen. Yeah, is my screen visible?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, thank you. The way we structure this is I'll first introduce Samagra and the work we do, and then we'll move on to the contributions that we've made over the last 1 year that we've interacted with Sunbird. So Samagra is a governance consulting firm that works with both state and national governments across multi-year projects to really drive systemic and behavioral change across the system. One key enabler that we've at least found to drive this systemic behavior change is technology. And our focus throughout has really been on building capability in the government to really adopt and sustain this technology across years and across end users, across administrators, and also across technology teams. So here are some examples of few projects states that we're engaging with. Our philosophy is that we've been driving change in the way governments build technology systems. So historically and traditionally, governments commission RFPs to really build tech products from scratch, even if it's like a small, very, very simple Android app just to collect some data. We've been inspiring and pushing governments to really build products in-house by leveraging open source components that are available publicly. And wherever government technology teams are slightly more advanced, the idea is to really leverage ecosystem or platforms like Sunbird and push those to enable multiple use cases across states. So net, our strategy has really been to leverage platforms, go open source, deploy unbundled systems, and then build capability within the government to sustain and adopt all of this. With this, I'd like to introduce everyone to the contributions that we've made to the Sunbird platform over the last 1 year. So there are 3 key contributions that I'll be speaking about chronologically. So there are 3 different types of contributions technically. The first one is a contribution to an existing Sunbird component. Here I'll deep dive into Prashnavali, which is a question bank, like Suren mentioned, that we've contributed to Sunbird. Second is a contribution of a new component altogether to Sunbird, where we'll talk about UCI, which is Unified Communications Interface for multi-channel bot communication with the end users. And the third is API integration between Sunbird and other third-party apps for content sharing and other things. Please note, all of these 3 are currently deployed on Sunbird, and I'll be taking everyone through demos of how these work. So they will be from an end user perspective. So let's get started. The first one is Prashnavali. And just to give some context around Prashnavali, we're all aware, right, that every state conducts periodic student assessments and examinations. However, if we imagine the life of a teacher in this overall setup, teachers have to manually create questions before every assessment or examination. Imagine the amount of effort that they put in creating those questions. Additionally, every question paper is supposed to have a structure called a blueprint. For example, there can be 2 match the following questions, there can be 3 fill in the blank questions, and so on and so forth. Now, it is very, very difficult to ensure consistency in quality across question papers, across teachers, and across states when done in a manual way and not in a very centralized digital manner. So what we realized was, in addition to this one problem that I highlighted, there is no reusability of questions to these manual questions that are created by teachers. And the same narrative existed not just for, let's say, term examinations, but also existed for worksheets. So across the board, the same problem statement was existing. So the key problem statement that we were working with was, how do we digitize the question paper and worksheet creation process? And to solve this particular problem statement, we brought in Prashnavali. So Sunbird had an existing question creation process on the platform. We enabled some key enhancements to the platform to really leverage use cases that could be rolled out in states going forward. So I'll take everyone through some of these key points that I'm highlighting. The first one is really creation of a question paper, where any user today can really log on to Sunbird and create a new collection called a question paper. So we added this new collection type called question paper, which now users can really add, and then thereafter they can add some sample metadata, simple metadata, which would include name, description, and probably some more filters around board, medium, class, grade, subject, and so on and so forth. So this was one key point that we added. Second was around defining a blueprint. Now this is very important. What this enables really is, when teachers create questions, they can now tag each question paper to specific competencies or, let's say, skills that are being tested. So whether it's, let's say, on arithmetic or language, all of that can be tagged. And it can also be tagged to specific chapters. What this would enable is, going forward, student learning can really be tracked at a competency or a skill or a chapter level. And thereafter, remedial learning can also happen basis that. So it's really powerful that way, that each question paper has a set of competencies. And we'll see in this video going forward how once an additional thing on Prashnavali is that all these questions that we're talking about are crowdsourced from teachers across the state or across the country. So here we have what happens is, the user particularly assigns roles to a particular question paper. So here we have, let's say, a reviewer and a contributor. A contributor can be any teacher from the state, and a reviewer is basically to ensure that the quality of questions that are created are on point and are up to the mark. Thereafter, contributors start creating questions on Prashnavali, and the idea here is to really have different types of questions. And once these different types of questions are enabled and the question and answer is selected, then these can further be tagged to the blueprint that I showed earlier. So the taxonomy here, again, from the selected competencies for that particular question paper, which competency does this question relate to? With this, we can target really for a particular student, which competency is he not good at or he or she good at. So to that granular level, can we track student learning and thereafter really help students improve and score better, basically enhance student learning in the long run. So once all of this is done, once questions are sourced, created, then what also happens is they can be tracked against the blueprint. So if we have, let's say, if we mentioned that there have to be 5 fill in the blanks, 3 match the following, or let's say 5 knowledge-based questions, 3 skill-based questions, all of them can be tracked using this feature here. And lastly, as I mentioned earlier, all these questions go through a round of review by the reviewer. And this reviewer is decided by the admin only. So this is to ensure that there are no low quality questions that get added to the overall question bank that's being created. So all in all, it's an end-to-end questions creation from a crowdsourcing manner from teachers across the state to thereafter review and thereafter creating question papers that can be further disseminated to students or other users. What we're also enabling as part of this platform is now once a question paper is created, it can be rendered or let's say distributed through multiple mediums. One is let's say printable PDF. So we're also enabling a printable PDF of this question paper. And second is let's say direct integration with some state app that's already existing with let's say a particular state. So there can be multiple dissemination mechanisms of this one question paper that's created on Sunbird. We've rolled out the first version of Prashnavali, and by far we've seen 1,000+ questions being contributed by roughly 100+ teachers across 20 lakh students. It's been only 1.5 months, and most states are being onboarded now. But really, the impact of this has been huge. Feedback from users also has been very positive around how this is really helping them reduce manual effort, manual intervention in this overall process. There are some key future use cases that we're really looking at when we talk about Prashnavali. I highlight 4 of them. Now, questions can be added to question papers that we've seen, but they can also be searched in the form of a question bank. So imagine if a teacher can not just from his questions, but also search from questions created by other teachers across the platform. So we have like a comprehensive question bank now created, which becomes searchable for all end users. This becomes very powerful in the sense that the overall repository is only growing over time. We have more and more questions being added by the day. The second is, once a question paper is created, I elaborated on how we can really disseminate the question. It can either be as a PDF or let's say through digital medium on the Sunbird website, or let's say on an app. But we can also do it through a bot, through UCI. And this is something we'll cover in the subsequent session. Then question papers and worksheets can also be auto-generated. So once we've added, let's say, questions to a question bank, imagine a teacher. A teacher can auto-generate question papers from that question bank for a specified blueprint. Let's say if he or she wants 5 knowledge-based questions, 6 skill-based questions, all of that can be automated from this question bank that is created. And secondly, not just for teachers, why not for students? If because of COVID, we're coming across this concept of self-learning. So students can self-learn really by creating worksheets themselves. Let's say if they want to practice a particular concept, they can auto-generate a worksheet for themselves, and then they can practice just to see how and where they stand for a particular skill in the larger scheme of things. And the last one is, there's a lot of hush and cry around personalization in learning. And this is something that Akshay also spoke about. So what we can enable through Prashnavali is question papers can be made adaptive basis a learner's progress on this taxonomy or blueprint that we show. So if a particular student, let's say, is weak in arithmetic, subsequent question papers can have more questions from arithmetic and let's say fewer questions on grammar, which the student is good at. So all of these future use cases that we're looking at are very powerful and have huge potential of enabling digital learning and improving the life of students and teachers in the longer run. The second contribution that I'll speak about is Unified Communications Interface, which is UCI. Here, the key problem statement that we were looking at happened post-COVID. So in the COVID situation, student learning really took a hit. Most of the students, either their learning stopped because schools were shut, or because they didn't have devices at home. Even digital learning got hampered. So now, across the board, what started happening was a lot of digital content started getting disseminated. And governments in India, similarly, they started focusing on sending and disseminating content across unstructured platforms such as WhatsApp groups, SMS, videos, and likewise. Now, all these content links were the same for all students. So there was no personalization around it. In fact, unlike offline classes, what online classes killed was any sort of interaction that could have happened in a free manner and any personalization that happened in the offline class. What we realized was that WhatsApp could be that key channel, really that key channel that can help bridge this gap, which brings us to the problem statement here, which is how can we provide interactive and personalized learning through WhatsApp? With this problem statement in mind, we got the inspiration of creating this multi-channel communication management engine through which any user today can, through a simple UI, configure bots for the end users. And these bots could be, let's say, surveys, assessments, or for any use case, basically. What I'll do is I'll do a quick demo of how UCI functions, what's the interface with which users configure bots, and how does the bot actually play out on WhatsApp. So with this, I'll just play the video here. So there are basic steps around creating a particular bot. The first step is around around setting up the conversation, where the idea is really to add some a simple description around the conversation and add a starting message. So the purpose of starting message is that when users enter this starting message on WhatsApp, that is when the bot gets initiated. So I'll just show how that works. Here I've entered a sample conversation name, which is, let's say, a UCI demo, and then conversation description. And then I've added the starting message, hi UCI. And I can also add a start date and an end date to this conversation. So I can add a validity period that, this from this date onwards, from this time onwards, will this bot be active, and till this date and time will this bot be active. So this helps in a use case such as assessments, where we want to do a timed examination. The second step here is to configure a user segment, where if, let's say, we want to restrict the bot, or let's say make the bot applicable only to a certain set of users. Let's say a particular survey is only applicable to, let's say, a set of administrators in the state of UP. Then we can do that using this simple create new segment, user segment screen here. And all of this is configurable. So tomorrow, if another state wants to have a different set of filters around creating user segments, they can do that very easily using by changing a simple configuration on Sunbird. So here, for example, I've selected class 3 students of Ambala. So I get my final list of 911 students here, basically. Then the idea is, once I've defined the scope, which is basically time period, the trigger, and the user segment that the bot is going to be applicable to, then I define the conversation flow. So what is it that the user will actually do on the bot? What is it that, what's the journey that he'll take? So that is currently being done through an open source tool called ODK, Open Data Kit. So the idea here is that when I click on add logic, I can upload a simple ODK form here through which is a simple XML file. And this ODK form is created outside of Sunbird. So that is how it's being configured right now. Once I upload the simple ODK form, this is how the flow looks like. I agree to certain terms and conditions and then submit and then my bot is created. So it's a simple 2-step process. I add some simple description name, I add my ODK form, and then I get a bot URL. I can send this bot URL to all my users and they can start using the bot. It's as simple as that. On the other hand, they can just enter the trigger starting message here, and that will also initiate the bot. I'll just show you how that works. So on Diksha bot, for example, which is a Sunbird instance that we're using, I write hi Diksha bot, and it just triggers the bot for me. So it initiates the conversation, and all of this is configured on ODK right now. So I can add as many logics as possible. I can have content links here. I can run surveys. I can run assessments too. And that's the power of the bot. So just to summarize, at any point in time, states can, using this simple UI, create bots for any use case using these 2 simple steps of, adding some sample description and then configuring the user flow. This is currently being piloted from September onwards and will be scaled to millions of students and teachers across states. We see a lot of potential use cases for this in future, some of which I'll highlight on this slide. So the first key use case is really integrating existing Sunbird content from such as the question bank that I highlighted earlier. So instead of, let's say, an ODK form, can a teacher really just create a question paper on Prashnavali and thereafter use that question paper to create a bot? Imagine how simple life becomes with that. The second thing is multi-language support. So because we have different languages across states, the idea is that this bot should have multi-language support for these people across states. The third is auto-generated PDF reports and certificates. Now, let's say a student takes an assessment and then post-assessment, an auto-generated certificate and a scorecard gets generated for it. Likewise, multiple other PDF reports and certificates can be generated basis all the different logics that are all configurable on Sunbird. And lastly, what we've seen is that currently the bot is based on all menu-based flow. So if I enter 1, then I'll be shown a certain menu. If I enter 2, then I'll be shown a certain menu. But the idea is to really enable free-flowing conversations where I can enter, let's say, I want to take the assessment for this particular examination. And it just throws up that assessment on the bot. So enabling free-flowing conversations on the bot is what we're looking at going forward, just to simplify the life of end users. And the last contribution that we're looking at is in terms of API integration. So API integration between the Sunbird platform and any third-party apps that already exist in the ecosystem. Here, the key problem statement that we were looking at, Sunbird APIs were already open. How do we leverage them and provide a cohesive learning experience through apps that already exist at the state level? So here, there were 2 things that we did. One was getting existing tools that Sunbird had already open sourced baked into the state user workflow. So here we leveraged, let's say, the Saral app that Sunbird has, through which student assessments can be digitized in a very easy way. Through some AI ML backend logic, students can really have their answers on a hard copy paper, and the app scans that paper and throws out the score. So it's as simple as that. Or let's say using C-Cube for dashboarding. So tomorrow, if let's say I have data from Prashnavali around how students are faring on particular learning outcomes, I can create a simple dashboard around that for the administrators using C-Cube. The third is OpenSaber for registries, where a lot of states don't have student data, teacher data, and that hinders a lot of use cases being implemented. So really using OpenSaber to create those registries with good data privacy, good consent mechanisms being pre-configured is what we're trying to do going forward. Second, I'll talk about some demos around API integrations that we've actually done in our life. So the first one is with respect to a teacher-parent app, eSamvad, where users can really discover content using Sunbird APIs on the app. So here, if you see the app, I have the video in front of me. This is the simple app in Hindi because our users are more familiar with Hindi. Here, I click on the send content button and I select a particular grade, a particular subject. Here we have Angrezi, Ganit. So I can select any subject. Thereafter, I can select whether I want to send across a video or a worksheet from Sunbird. I do that, and thereafter I select the content and just trigger it through an SMS. So teachers really have the power to enable personalized learning through this. They can select specific content for specific students and trigger those content links to those specific students. So this integration really enables personalization as required, and is currently being used by roughly 50,000 teachers and 8 lakh students in the state. The second app that we're looking at is a student app. Here, what we've done is users can discover question papers that have been created on Prashnavali using Sunbird APIs, and they can directly take these assessments on the app instead of, let's say, doing it on the Sunbird platform or, let's say, a bot. If a state has an existing student-facing app, we can render those questions on the student-facing app so that they don't have to start to learn a new app or get to know a new platform altogether. And this is going to be potentially launched for roughly 1 lakh teachers and 20 lakh students. So with this, we conclude the overall contributions that we've made from Samagra side to the Sunbird platform. What I want to leave the overall community with is with one last thought: is through our experience, we really feel that with our contributions, Sunbird really enables reusability of these contributions, not just in the education sector, but in other sectors and other countries as well at scale. And in that sense, it's truly open source, replicable, reusable, and scalable. Thank you.
Thanks, Ayush, for a wonderful session.